Blog Talk Radio.
When you don't know, just know a gospel do-de-o-do. Ahura will journey with you to all the places on
ready to say today.
What do you do? When you don't know, just know a gospel do-de-o-do. Ahura will journey with you to all the places others won't go. When you don't know, just know a gospel do-de-o-do. Ahura will journey with you to all the places others
ready to
won't
say
go.
today.
What do you do? When you don't know, just know a gospel do-de-o-do. Ahura will journey with you to all the places others won't go.
You're listening to Ask the Unicorn, live with Ahura Deliza, answering all your paranormal, metaphysical, and spiritual questions. Call us now at 718-664-9638 to speak with Ahura, or post your questions via chat room on our show page. And now your host, Ahura Z.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ahura Z. You're on the air live with me. I'd like to talk about Halloween tonight, just briefly. You know, I'm not going to go into any of the history of Halloween, but I am going to say it's one of my favorite holidays of the year, and I'm sure it's the favorite of a lot of other people. During this time, I'm going to open the floor shortly for questions, and any kind of question you want to ask is fine with me. If there are personal issues that you're dealing with, I'm happy to help you with that. However, if you have some brief if you have some brief Halloween story that you'd like to talk about, I'd be more than happy to listen to that as well. I'm here with Kazi. Kazi, say hi.
Hi.
And Ling and everyone is very happy to have everyone in our office and our studio at the moment. I know that other radio stations have guests, and I'll be doing that shortly in the future, just not right now. So let me tell you what I think of Halloween. I think that Halloween has been one of those holidays that I always wanted to look forward to, and I always did look forward to, and I always had a great time during it. It doesn't have any pretenses. I mean, if you want to dress up like someone, you dress like someone or something. I've always chosen positive characters to dress up as, and I might suggest that to a lot of people as well. But if you want to dress up as a zombie or anything, more is the better. I mean, just have a great time during this Halloween season and be safe. So I'm going to open up the floor to some questions right now. I'm sure you all have a lot. And Kazi, what's our first thing that we have?
First question is, on your website, you distinguish yourself as a telepath. How is that different from a psychic?
The difference is small, really. A psychic depends on emanations and feelings and perhaps energy readings from an object, person, place, or thing. A telepath gets straight information. It's almost like the information gets fed into a giant computer, and that computer feeds it to me. I don't depend on what I feel. I don't depend on what someone tells me, and I don't depend on what it might look like. It's just straight information. It's kind of like the television is always on for me, and I don't have those moments that you see on television rocking back and forth like they try to say the kids do, or I didn't have those moments. I just saw things, and I saw things differently than other people did. I didn't rock over in a corner saying how much pain there was, and it's so horrible, and not everything is a little girl that's trapped in between dimensions. You know, I see things the way that they are, and it doesn't always jibe with what other people see, but I'm a little different in the way that it doesn't matter what I feel about some things, because I know that sometimes feelings or emotions can betray you. It's more of knowing. I know what's going on. And when something is shown to me, along with it comes the information. It's not just, oh, I saw this, and I don't know what that means. I saw this, and this is exactly what it means. So it's a little bit different. Like I said, the difference is tiny. It's not huge. I know some very, very, very good psychics, very powerful psychics. They're very good at what they do. And I know the difference between someone who claims to be psychic and is just kind of intuitive, someone who is psychic, and someone who is telepathic. So I guess that should define it.
Did you always know you were a telepath?
Yes. There was no guesswork.
Okay. When did you learn how to do readings? And can you teach others how to do psychic readings?
I can teach others to do psychic readings if they have some potential to do so. I can also teach a person how to calculate. Remember, this world is numbers. Everything that we do is numbers. So when you're dealing with certain forms of doing your reading is based upon calculation. However, if you're an intuitive or you're a person that has a marked intuitive ability, I can help you to develop that. Yes, everyone has some intuition, but some of them can be developed. Some of them have to kind of grow on their own course. That's when a person like myself comes in and helps you to read the road signs and let you know this is what's happening, that's what's happening. Now we need to do this particular thing in order to make this happen, or we can't do that so that this doesn't happen. It's really interesting to try to explain. Is better to do with a person. But yes, I can teach a person how to develop their intuition, yes. Okay, next question.
This is from Elise, and she asks, what are those colored orbs that I see everywhere, in the sky, in trees, on the grass, on sidewalks, and sometimes floating over people?
It depends. Remember, everything that there is made of energy, and energy takes every shape that there could be. You hear a lot of talk about what we like to call spirit orbs, or sporbs, as I call them. And they could be just simply energy. They can be an actual spirit. It depends on what they are. Not. I get a lot of people showing me pictures of dust motes claiming that they're spirit orbs, and they're really just dust motes that have been lit up by the camera's light. But, in many cases, they are actual energy or prana, or the things behind the air that enables us to breathe in. Sometimes they're the spirits of different animals or even the different people. But something that was an actual person has a tendency to be a little bigger. If we're dealing with something that is a very, very small thing, remember, everything on this earth that has ever walked this earth does have a spirit or had a spirit at one point in time. And those spirits, when they lose their bodies, roam free just like everyone else, just like a person. I find it very, very interesting that no one ever says, hey, I saw a sporb, and I wonder if it's just an animal or if it's a bug or if it's a person, because there are some people that believe that animals don't have souls or bugs don't have souls, and you couldn't be more incorrect. The things that you may be seeing could be forms of energy. Then again, they could be actual people. It depends on what you feel like when you're there, what type of feeling they emanate. And you said you even see them around people. Remember, so many people have walked this earth and have relinquished their bodies, so there could be billions upon billions of spirits that are around. Okay, do we have a next? Remember, you can also call in. When you feel like calling, you can call this number, 718-664-9638. I'll be happy to answer your questions. I love it when people call in because it gives me the opportunity to actually speak to someone rather than speaking to the air. And that's fine with me. Sometimes you may receive a spot reading if that's what's needed. Sometimes you just may receive a little bit of counseling if that's what's needed. Other times you just get the answer to your question. And I said at the beginning of this particular show, or in other words, the radio show, that I'm not going to answer questions about whether or not your mate is cheating on you, because I don't think it's fair. Not unless you're willing to have that person right there with you so that they can at least protest if that's what's needed. But everything else is pretty much game. Okay, what else you got?
This is from Marina via email. She asks, I have a book called 12,000 Dreams interpreted by Gustavus Miller and tarot cards called Daily Guidance from Your Angels by Doreen Virtue and the Enchanted Math Oracle cards by Colette Reed. And they recently haven't been agreeing. My dreams are all about unfortune, yet the cards point towards happiness and prosperity. Could you please clear up what's happening here?
Oh, certainly. Remember, the cards are merely an interpretation. The cards have no power. I know that we like to give things power and say, oh, these cards are the best. But, they're different things for different people. Those particular cards only give you an illustration. And perhaps you should go back and review the information that you thought that you had before. Remember, no one's going to be able to navigate through your life like yourself. And if you're an intuitive person, having someone that has a name doesn't mean anything. I can draw you a tarot deck, and my interpretation may be entirely different from what your interpretation is. There's so many different tarot decks and so many different astrology decks and so many different cartouches out there that they all have a difference in opinion. There's this one deck that is called the medicine wheel that, says certain things mean certain things, but, if you look at it and you don't see what they see, it doesn't make you wrong, nor does it make them wrong. It merely means that your interpretation may differ from theirs. So if I were you, here's what I would do. To start off, throw away the book that is trying to instruct you on how to do the tarot, and just let your intuition guide you. And that way you will come up with your own interpretation and how the energy feels to you, as opposed to listening to the opinions or even the real advice of someone else. Understand, we're all different. There's no two people that are the same. I can't give the same reading to one person as I give to another. So for me to say that this is the actual meaning of this particular card to all people would be absurd. So as I said, you think about what they mean to you and not what they say in the book. Okay? By the way, hello, Marina. It's nice to hear from you.
This next question comes from I Choose to Be Happy via our YouTube channel. And they ask, can you tell me about breaking cycles or connections with family members? I feel like my mother is living through me and that her fears and worries are on my mind and keeping me from moving forward with my life. Hope you can answer this or give insight as to why this happens. Okay.
Well, let me answer the first part. If you're going to disconnect from someone, understand that's a very important move. It's not something that can be thought about lightly. It's not something that can be taken lightly. You're going to actually have to think about what you're doing. And if you feel as though someone else is living through you, you have to determine whether or not that is a positive or negative experience. And if it is a negative experience, then my suggestion to you is to be able to sit down with that person at some point in time and discuss it with them and say, look, I'm not you. I can't be expected to do the things that you do just because you want me to. And on another note, the best policy for that is when it's convenient or when it is actually possible, distance yourself from that person. But, you have to think about whether or not that is a real issue. It may be, maybe you just see it that way, or maybe there's an instance with that person that you're unhappy with, so you decided that. So think about this really deeply before you do anything. But at the end of it, it always usually comes up to separating from that person. Now, if you're a minor and you're under that person's care, that's not going to do you any good. But what I will say is if you're both adults and you can sit down and talk about something, perhaps you can decide to coexist peacefully without the other expecting something from the other person. So that would probably be your best mode. Just find a way to exist maybe apart from each other, but if you have to be together, then be together. Just decide, listen, don't butt into my life and I won't butt into yours. Okay? So I hope that helps. Now, I'm going to take a short break just for a moment, and in the meantime, while I take the short break, I'm going to play you something to get you moving, and we're going to come back. We're going to come back later with a call. So I'll take this short interlude. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. That was Shiva Dance by Ahura Z. Oh, that's me. Anyway, we have a caller on the line now. That would be Elise. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome Elise.
Thanks.
Good evening, Elise. How are you?
Good evening. Okay. It's good to hear you.
And you?
Thanks. I have a question. 2 years ago, my youngest sister committed suicide, and my sister that was closest in age with her is about 4 years older than her, keeps having spiritual experiences with her, and she can't stop crying. She said that my sister Grace is with her, and she doesn't know what to do, and every time she sees anything that reminds her of Grace, she just feels really bad, and she can't get over it. And so I felt like one time I was sitting on the sofa, and I felt like Grace came and sat down next to me, and I asked her, "Why are you sitting down next to me?" And she just started laughing, and then she went away. And then Barbara called me about half an hour later. That's the sister that's on the earth still. And she said that Grace came to her again, and she said she can't hear her, but she said she has dreams of Grace telling her that she wishes that she didn't commit suicide, and she misses her dog, and she's just really sad that where she is, she doesn't want to be where she is, and we don't know what to do about it.
There's nothing to be done
Well,
other than just give her your prayers. I mean, you, as far as getting it so that she's free of this person, that there's something that could be done about that. Okay, she would actually have to have someone to come in and cleanse that particular presence, or cleanse her house of that particular presence. But, you know, she visits a lot of people, and all of you together need, rather than to be sad about it and rather to be lamenting over it, it's probably your lamenting thoughts that keep her there. So what you all need to do is start, just saying some prayers to have her be released to be where she's supposed to be. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times when you're grieving for someone just because you think about them and you feel pain because you think about them, that winds up being like a chain to them, So maybe you need to just have some prayers of positivity, and then that can be released. If it becomes malevolent, then you call someone like myself that will come out and exorcise that spirit. And I'm sure where she is, there are a lot of people. But the last thing that she needs to do is to feel helpless about it. Okay? And the last thing that she needs to do is to concentrate on her negative feelings over the whole thing. That doesn't help at all. It doesn't help her. It doesn't help your friend. It doesn't help the person that's moved on. It doesn't help anyone. Positivity is the name of the game here, and prayer always works. You know that.
Yeah.
So those are the things that can be done. If it becomes more of a problem after she's tried everything and did her best to try everything, then we can talk again, and maybe something else needs to happen.
Oh, okay. Thanks for it's great advice.
It's good hearing from you, Elise. I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Thanks.
You too, sweetheart.
Okay.
Okay, that was Elise. Now, as I said, as I was explaining to her, sometimes when someone does move on, we, instead of hoping that they are in a better place and using our prayers to hope that person is in a better place, we lament. And when we lament, it forms like this chain, like a bond. Notwithstanding all of the stories that you hear about the movies and people saying, well, it's unfinished business and, all of that kind of blah, blah, blah. The truth is that there are attachments, and there could be things that are attaching a spirit here that keep them attached. And most times it's a person that just refuses to let go, or another person that just refuses to relinquish all of their negative feelings so that person can just be free, and so that you can be free of that person. So these are things that need to be thought about. Now, I want to get back to Halloween. We have always had tons of children that would come out for candy. And, I'm going to say this to the adults. Listen, when those children come out for their candy, please be kind to them. Don't be mean. Don't go and hide yourself and cut off all of your lights and say, bah humbug, whatever, and just hope that they'll go away. It helps when those children know that they can go to a safe place to get their little treats and everything, and then they can go on their merry way. If anything, why don't you help them put on the show? It will help them later on in their expression. It will help them to understand that they can be free to think the way that they want to think, and to feel the way that they want to feel. So I'm going to urge all of you, participate in Halloween, would you? Now, I'm going to open for some more questions. What else have we got here?
Next question is from Ruth C. via email, and she asks, I lost my mother a few weeks ago, and since her passing, I have had an abundance of love, money, friendship, and joy flowing into my life. I feel like I'm being drawn into a vortex of all things good. I feel very blessed. Could it be my mother guiding me toward these positive things? Are spirits of loved ones involved in our lives, or are they too busy on the other side to be concerned about what is going on here? And on a side note, my mother and I had a very tumultuous relationship and didn't always get along. I had reason to question her feelings for me, and when she passed without this being resolved between us, I wondered if she could somehow give me a sign that she understands and that she could let me know she loves me. Could this abundance of joy be her way of giving me the peace of finally being sure of her love?
It could. It could indeed. What do you think? Obviously, you feel that, and I'm going to tell you to go with your feelings. Because, understand that they just lose their body. They don't lose their minds, nor do they lose their spirits. So, if you're receiving these blessings, the best things for you to do is not to question them and just accept them and say thank you. Perhaps you didn't resolve everything in your physical life, but understand that you can resolve things even after the person is gone. Or at least their body is gone. And maybe that's what she's doing. Maybe she realizes the same thing and just wants you to have peace. So I would consider that all of these blessings could be her way of showing you, hey, I'm still here, and I just want to make sure that you're all right. Okay? So, yes, that's a beautiful thought to have. I'm going to tell you to stick with it. And by the way, they do help us. Remember, when you're having any type of a relationship with the divine, you're dealing basically with the spiritual. And, of course, the spiritual will do things to assist us and help us and lead us along the way. So, yes, they do influence. And they help us out from time to time. Best to just look up and say thank you, or look wherever you want to look. Okay, I hope that helps. Let's move on to the next question.
Next question is from Jennifer, and she asks, what are some of the magical properties of Halloween?
Oh, that is a good question, actually. I was hoping for one of those. The magical properties of Halloween is what you pretend to be. To a degree, you are. Or you will become, and that's something to be paid attention to. Now, I'm not going to make it very, foreboding and scary, but you really have to think about what type of character that you choose. Because for that particular time, during that particular time, you become that character, and whether or not you realize it, you become that character mostly. So if it's a devil that you pick, you have to look at your own devil nature. If you're picking an angel, look at your angelic nature. If you're picking a cat, look at your cat nature, because you become that to a degree. There's a lot of things that say that's the night that the spirits get to walk freely, and that's fine. That's cool. Just they don't have to walk into me, but if they do, you just deal with them and move on. But remember, to act like something means that there's something in you that caused you to act that way. So deal with things responsibly, okay? I'm not going to tell you what to act like. I don't want everybody rushing out to go find an angel outfit, okay? You do what you feel and you become that. And you can probably use the magic from that or the properties of that every day to a degree. It's just on Halloween, the energy support it so well that it becomes almost 100%. But you do have to watch what you're doing. I remember I, as a teenager, decided to dress as the Reaper and stood up under one of the street lights with my makeshift Reaper outfit and scared a whole bunch of people, you know. And since I knew what the development that I lived in was like, you know, I wound up scaring them on different streets. And, you know, the most interesting feeling came over me while I was doing that. I actually felt like that particular person is, that particular image. And it was the most bizarre thing. And then the next day they actually spoke about that person that they saw on the street, you know, was me. And I never told them. But, you know, you really have to think about what it is that you dress up as. That's part of the magic of Halloween. It's kind of like, you know, during the Christmas spirit, you get all dressed up, and the more that you get into it, the more that you get out of it. You know, it's the same thing. Garbage in, garbage out. You know, so there's the magic of Halloween, and quite frankly, I think is rather fun. You know, so I know that there are a lot of people out there that say, oh, it's the devil's work and blah, 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 you know, and all of that kind of stuff. And you can't sit up and say stuff like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, you wind up cheating yourself and cheating everybody else out of a really good time. Just have fun with it. I mean, it's all good fun, right? I mean, if you want to be a wolf, then be a wolf. Just be careful. You might start really getting too much into it because that particular spirit may decide that it wants to help you along, you know. And I think you can have a great time with it, great fun with it. Okay, so what is our next question here?
Well, the next question you kind of answered along with Jennifer's. This next question was from Lynn, and she asked, I have heard you speak with reservation about conventional Halloween lore, the dead walking the earth, etc. Is there any real magic to this holiday, and how would you describe it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as I said, there is real magic to this holiday. Of course, all those people out there that are skeptics, you know, I want to accommodate you too. There is magic in it, whether you like it or not. There's magic in it. You know, you can close your lights, turn off your lights, close your doors, and say bah humbug all you want to. But the truth is, the sun exists with or without your approval. Okay, so just like Halloween exists with or without your approval. It would be a sad day in America when we stopped celebrating Halloween because it would happen anyway. You know, so.
Next question is from our chat room. Arlisha Valentine asks, I keep receiving the same message over and over about a man from my past. How can I get specific details from my guide?
Okay. I think you are getting details from your guide. Is it whether or not you're open to those details and whether or not there's something on the inside of you that is weighing whether or not you want specific details. Okay? Whoever the guy is from your past, you have to ask yourself a few questions. Is it worth it for you to get the details? Does it mean anything at all, or are you just kind of hoping that it means something? And if it does mean something, then perhaps you should make yourself available to the universe so that they can show you more of a detail about this guy. I wouldn't, you know, I don't understand why you would need more detail than what you've already got if this is a person from your past. If you want to know whether or not he's available, of course he's available. You know, there's a specific detail. But does it mean that you're going to run into him? That's something else entirely. That would be chance. I think that your wanting may not match your needing, okay, which is why the universe keeps trying to show you over and over again. You know, that this is this particular person, maybe there's something that's unresolved. Maybe you decided to keep something that person gave you a long time ago or that belonged to that person. And if that be the case, then you probably need to either get rid of it because it may be showing that you're going to bump into this person and you may not want to. So I think you need to take just back up a bit and regain your perspective and think about it both ways, not just, oh, well, this could be an opportunity. This could be a warning. So if you want specific details, I've already told you one specific detail that there could be. The other has to do with whether or not it would be a good thing. And in my particular sensing, I don't catch that it's going to be the greatest thing, but you'll have to decide on your own. Sometimes it's better to just leave things alone. Just because someone shows you something and it keeps happening again doesn't make it good. Okay? I hope that helps you. What do you got next? Okay, I want to take another opportunity to invite you all to call in. If you call in, I can speak to you. And once I speak to you, you'll understand that it's always best to speak to a person one-on-one. That way, I'm not just talking at you. Okay. Now, is there anything else? Okay. Now, since there are no more questions at the moment, I'm sure there will be. I'm going to go to a break. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this one song that I really love, okay? And it's called Totemic. And it deals with the very thing that we've been talking about in Halloween, which is the magic of Halloween. This is an actual song from one of our albums, Pisces Project, that is called Totemic. The album is called Spellbook, but the song is called Totemic, and it's how to summon your totem animal. And I hope you all enjoy it. I'll be back in a few. You're on the air live with Ahura Z.
See it in your mind, put it in your voice. Let the goddess know that you made your choice. Cast your circle for the wind. Clap 3 times, move your feet and let your dance begin. El animal que vive dentro de ti. Help you be yourself, clear your mind and set you free. Don't you hesitate, the energy won't wait. Speak the words to the one you emulate. You gotta do more than read, books can't help you see. Not that hard, just repeat after me. Desde allá hasta aquí, animal aparece.
And we're back. That was Pisces Project with Totemic. I hope you all enjoyed that. Listen, in the event that you would like to hear more of these songs and you would like to hear these songs and have them downloaded, you can go to unicorn1records.com and download this music. You can also, if you'd like to make a donation to the show to make sure that I can do more shows and do better shows, you can go to unicorncove.com. In other words, you can go to unicorn-cove.com. Okay? And you can make your donation there. Now, I can't stress to you that how important this particular thing is, and how important it is for you to make donations so that we can continue the work and so that I can continue the work that I'm doing. The show is fairly new, and I'm getting better and better at it every single week, and having more and more fun with it every single week. Now, I'm going to go to our phone lines right now. We have someone that is waiting. This is Mary Sculla, and I'm going to bring her into our studio. Hello, Mary.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. Oh, I'm pretty good, thanks.
Good. What can I do for you tonight?
I've been very interested in the fact that, I have a feeling that the people who have passed in my life could, or maybe not, I don't know, but I'm picking up something that there was a little bit of something going on in my life right now. It's a little turbulent, and I just wanted to know if there's anyone out there who, especially one person in my life who's passed, but if there's someone who is trying to help me or guide me or direct me. I don't know. It's kind of a lot to ask, but it's, I just need to know if there's someone out there around me right now, because I'm feeling a whole lot of stuff and I'm confused, and it's about one of my 3 children. It's not anything serious. It's just something that has happened, and I need some direction.
All right.
Okay.
I'm guessing that this is kind of a private matter, so I'm going to keep it private. But you're wondering if anyone is out there to help you. That's kind of okay. That's kind of why they brought you to me. Usually, the spirit world will bring you to someone physical so that you can understand, or so that you can actually speak. Okay, and that's kind of the way that it works. I know that we live in a world that's inundated by fiction and fantasy, but in this particular case, I can say that you've got a lot of spiritual help to get through what it is that you're going through. It may not necessarily be that person that has passed. Do you understand?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But it could be that particular person that's manipulating you to find out some things. Okay. And to help you to put it into the turbulence. But I am going to say this to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want the turbulence to go, you've got to be honest, and you've got to say things the way that you hear them and not the way that you're expected to say them.
Okay, so for instance, do you want me to tell you what's
No,
going
I don't want you to tell me anything.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not something I'm willing to actually air out in public. But I will talk to you in private. I'd be more than happy to speak to you about this in private.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And what I will do is I will send you into the studio room so that we can set up an appointment for you and I to speak. Okay, but you're a nice lady, and I remember you. You're very sweet, and I am telling you that you are getting some spiritual help right now, but you've got to react to it. You keep things kind of nice, and it's time to get dirty.
Okay. Okay.
So to
maybe
speak. Okay.
that could be an answer right there in itself, because that's kind of what I've been doing, this passive aggressive type behavior that I've been doing to a family member.
Yeah, we don't need any more of that. Okay. We need to get into the game. So I'm going to switch you over to our studio and then our back studio, and then we can set up an appointment for you and I to speak. Okay.
All right.
I'll be more than
that sounds
helpful.
wonderful.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good talking to you.
All right. Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay,
All righty. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was good. That brings up a very good point. Remember something. When the spiritual answers you, it doesn't come out as some nebulous thing. It comes up in a way that they will bring you to a portion that you can deal with something on a physical level. Okay? And hopefully that physicality will guide you to where it is that you need to be guided to. Okay? In other words, they may help you to, or guide you to a person that can answer your questions, or that can actually help you find out what it is you're looking for. Okay, so remember that. Remember, it's spiritual, and spiritual always leads to the physical, no matter what. I mean, they're not going to stand there in a wisp and say things like, you are being visited. They're going to actually bring you to a point of physicality. That way you stay grounded. Okay? And it's very important to stay grounded. I mean, you can have all of the ghostly experiences that you want, but if you lose touch with your body, it's just no good. So remember that. Okay? We should have some more questions. What have we got here?
Next question is in regards to Halloween from Denise. She asks, do you see any magical significance to jack-o'-lanterns? For those of us who like them, how should they be used for magical benefit?
If you don't have a jack-o'-lantern, then that funny little guy with the pumpkin head is going to come visit you with his magical lollipops. Okay, they're not that great. No, I'm just kidding. I have always kind of viewed the jack-o'-lantern as a form of protection. I kid a lot about pumpkins, and pumpkins to me, I always call them an instrument of the devil. But in truth, what they are is a form of protection against some of the dangers or some of the bad magic of Halloween. Okay, so if you have that jack-o'-lantern there, it's kind of like having a gargoyle to ward off the evil spirits, if you will. There's nothing wrong with having that jack-o'-lantern be lit up. Just remember, it needs to be lit up. You can't have it non-functional, just a pumpkin sitting there. So there's a bit of truth to all of these things. Understand, there was a point in time where magic was abounding, and science likes to say that magic is just unexplained science. But as far as I'm concerned, science is just a big phony way of taking responsibility for something it knows nothing about, or taking the credit for it. So I guess we can go bicker over that all night. But in truth, I think that the jack-o'-lantern is a symbology, and symbologies are very powerful. I mean, if you go the other way, you'll go into the headless horseman thing, which isn't really cool. But I've always considered them as kind of like a ward. So yeah, there's some magic to them. What have you got? I hope that helps you. You should have fun with that. And if anybody says, "Oh, that's not what it means," tell them to talk to me. I'll straighten them out for you.
Looks like you have a couple callers on the air. You got
okay.
Amelia.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so we have some callers. I'm going to move over to the caller portion here, and we're going to speak to Kelly first and bring her into the studio. Well, hello, Kelly. How are you?
Hey, Z. How are you?
I'm good. What can I do for you this evening?
So my question was about the crystals. I've always kind of been curious about them and why were they made and what's their purpose?
Oh, do you mean just any kind of crystal?
No, the Mayan crystal skulls, the one shaped like skulls.
Oh, the crystal skull. Well, well, I can only give you my opinion on such things. Sure. I believe that they were actually made as a way to enhance someone's mental ability. I think the one that we're talking about, the crystal skull, was made so that a person could actually experience a level that would be such something like telekinesis or even contact, almost like a phone, if you will, with energy. And it's an enhancer. That's what I think. If I were to get a hold of one, I could tell you everything about it. I mean, it obviously is set there and fashioned as a skull because it does something to resonate with an actual human skull. So my thought is that it has to do with telekinesis. It has to do with enhancing a person's mentality or actually bringing it into a tangible form. I think that they are very curious. I'd actually love to see if I could make one work. And that would be the real thing. And I could tell you exactly what it does. But it does have to do with resonance. And the type of crystal that it is, depending on what it is, if it's made of quartz, that has to do with mentality. Quartz always has to do with mentality. It has to do with memory and recording and sending a signal from one place to the other. So I'm thinking that they're kind of like phones. Maybe they send thoughts from one place to another, which would basically give the connotation that there are other crystal skulls. And there are probably quite a few of them. So you might even call it like a prehistoric phone if you want to. I don't know if you can call it prehistoric, but like an Aztec phone. Maybe they thought thoughts holding the skull, and it transferred those thoughts to another skull. And the person that was on the other end got the thoughts. That's what I think the purpose is. But like I said, anyone else would just call it an opinion, right? So we seem to have lost Kelly. It sounded like she was having some problems with her phone, but I answered anyway. Kelly, I hope that helps you. And if you can get back on at some point in time, I'll talk to you further about it. Now, I'm going to go to our next caller, which is Kinsey. And we're going to bring her right in. Hello? 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 What were you doing? Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Kinsey. How are you?
Good.
Good. Yes, this is Z, and you're on the air live with Ahura Z. What can I do for you, sweetie?
Okay, so the other night, John went out late, and he let me sleep in his room.
Okay.
So I was laying down watching TV, and the door was kind of cracked open, and I had the sense that I was being watched by something or someone. So then I had fallen asleep, kind of ignoring that, and I woke up at around 3 a.m., and the door was still kind of cracked open, but more, and like I had the feeling that there was something in the room with me, and with my imagination, I could just see what looked like a person, but it was a spider.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't have like a face. It just had pale white face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth. It just had long black hair and just a pale white face.
Interesting.
So I just got really scared and kind of like ran down to Mom.
And you saw that in John's room?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it could have been a trick of the light, or it could, as you say, your imagination could have taken over, but I happen to know that you see things, so I'd have to determine what it was. It may have been some astral entity, it may have been a spirit, or it could, as I said, have been a trick of the light. At some point in time, I'll have to visit your place and see whether or not there's an emanation. I'd be more than happy to do that. But try not to be afraid of it. I hope you're not afraid of it.
I was at first, but I've kind of like gotten over that.
Okay, that's a good thing. Like I said, nothing can hurt you unless you let it. Okay? Remember that.
Okay.
You do have control over your life. Just tell it to go away. Do your best to tell it to go away. Okay?
Okay.
And it's probably just a shadow because John's room is so dirty. Tell him to clean his room. Anyway, I will talk to you soon, sweetheart. You be a good girl, okay? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Night-night.
Night.
Okay. Now, I can tell you all again, if you'd like to talk further, you can. At any moment in time, all you have to do is dial the number 718-664-9638. Now, we're going to go a little further this evening. Normally, I do an hour show, but I'm going to go just a wee bit further so that it gives everybody the opportunity to ask some questions, and I'm giving you all the opportunity to ask as many questions as you possibly can. That would be wonderful. Now, I'm going to take a short break, however, and I'm going to play another song for you. And this particular song I actually wrote because my wife belly dances, and she's very good at it, and she's becoming quite the teacher of belly dance. And this is called Sonare Bebop, and I hope you all enjoy this song. We'll be back momentarily. You're on the air live with Ahura Z and Ask the Unicorn. All right, that was Sonare Bebop Belly Dance, and that was by Pisces Project, and I hope you all enjoyed it. We're back. Well, it seems like we got Kelly back again, so I'm going to go directly to Kelly, and now she's waiting, and open up the line.
Hey, Z.
Okay. Hey, how we doing, Kelly? Lost you there for a minute.
I'm fine. Yeah, sorry, my phone just dropped. It's a special. So, yeah, I could ask questions all night, so I'm ready to go.
I'm sure you can. Yeah, but we need to talk to other people as well.
I know.
So, was there another question, or did I answer your question sufficiently, or did you catch it?
You answered my question. I have another question that's sort of related, though.
Okay. All right.
I've been wondering what the Nazca lines are. Like, what are they?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
The Nazca lines.
Nazca lines?
Yeah, the Nazca lines.
Okay. When it comes to worldly events, there are certain things that I know about that have to do with my studies and certain things that don't. Okay, so you're going to have to do a little more. You're going to have to give me a little more on that.
Okay. I was just wondering, like, why, like, if you knew anything about them or why they were made or what their purpose is. Kind of like, I just thought it kind of related to the crystal skulls because they kind of came from the same culture. So,
well,
I was just wondering behind, like, what was the mysticism behind the Aztecs?
Yeah, I don't pretend to know all of the mysticism behind the Aztecs because it hasn't been a major point of study for me. Okay, my studies usually go with life, and if the Aztecs have some note in life that I actually can delve into, I do. But when it comes to knowing things about the Masculines or things like that, I know about the skulls because, you know, I thought it was very, very interesting, and I took it upon myself to learn about the skulls. But as far as the whole Aztec calendar and things like that, I really didn't think about it much because I knew that the Aztec calendar ending at a certain time could have been that guy's wife that was chiseling out the calendar saying, will you put that down and come into dinner? And then he just did, you know. So it goes to the bunch of doomsday talk that was being done last year, you know, December 21st, 2012. And, you know, I really don't hold much stock in things like that. You know, I know that even biblically it says that no one will know the hour when, you know, God returns or the world ends. And that means nobody, no one, not this person that thinks that they know more than anyone else. I really don't want this world to end, so I try not to really think about it. If I get a message that says that, if I get a message that says something about that, then okay, you know, that's fine. But you probably know as much as I do, except for maybe they were done by extraterrestrials. You know, it could have been. Maybe it was just a road map, or they were drawn by giants. You know, we could go through all kinds of things. I'll have to look into them. And you know what? When I do look into them, I promise you I'll give you a full detailed answer.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, good. Listen, you know, I'd really think about those classes if I were you. It's a good time right now. I will talk to you soon, and thank you for calling in.
No problem. Bye.
Okay, sweetie. All right. Now let's go to our questions that we have that people have sent in.
Next question is from Heath. He asks, I'm dealing with a person who believes in the supernatural because this person has legitimately experienced things, and many of those things have been negative. This person is starting to believe that whenever they feel bad or something negative happens, it must be the supernatural. In your experience, what is the best way to get this person to look at life first for solutions rather than jumping directly to a supernatural cause? Thank you.
Well, that's a good question, actually, because you're right. A lot of people do jump to the supernatural because they don't want to take a responsibility for their own lives. You know, if you're if things are falling apart in your life, you have to look at the ground floor first. You can't just assume that there's some spirit that decided it wanted to tamper with you just because you were standing there. You know, you really you have to get that person to look at things from a grounded perspective. Not necessarily first, but at some point in time they're going to have to. Remember, we're supposed to take responsibility for our lives, you know, and if you trip on a stump, you can't very well say that that stump jumped up and grabbed you. You just weren't paying attention, and maybe there's something in this person's life that they're not paying attention to. That being said, however, take into consideration that there could, in fact, be some spiritual influence. So you have to kind of walk a fine line. You have to take into consideration, just remind that person if they go too much into the spiritual, then they're effectively no good in this earth. And if they go too earthly, then they're no good in the spiritual. So it's kind of like what I said. You have to walk this very fine line. Many philosophers call that the razor's edge. In my particular case, I just call it common sense. You know, if all else fails in your life, if everything else fails in your life, use common sense. Okay? If you don't decide to not go to work one day or any other day or have a pattern of doing that, you get fired, you can't blame it on a spirit. You know, you didn't take your lazy behind to work. That's what happened. Or if you're out getting in arguments with everyone, you can't blame a spirit for everyone not liking you. You have to stop arguing first and then see what happens. You can sit up and talk about magic all day, but the bottom line is there are things that need to be done in this physical realm in order for you to survive. So always start with the ground floor first. As my teacher always said, you really want to know what spirituality is. Spirituality is reality, first and foremost. Okay? And then you can move up into the esoteric portions of it. And that's the best that you can do for that person. At that point, once you've introduced that particular thought, walk away. You can't convince that person to do anything other than what they want to do. And that's probably the biggest part of any battle. You can't convince a person to do anything other than they want to do. So, introduce it once and walk away. It'll save you a lot of time and trouble as well. Thanks for writing in, Heath.
This next question is from Chloe. How do you keep the balance between being attached to loved ones who have moved on and being open to their assistance?
Understand that they've moved on and that's the reality of it. And if they decide to help you, they decide to help you. Just test them first and make sure that that really is the person that you're talking about, that is trying to assist you. And if it's not, then seek the help of those that can tell you. Okay? If you're speaking about in the physical realm, that's really easy. You decide whether or not you want that person in your life. It works the same on the spiritual realm or on the physical realm. You have to make a decision as to whether or not you want that person to be a part of your life. Now, if they've moved on, let them move on. If they decide to help you and you've had a good relationship with them, why not? I mean, why not? You allow them to help you in the physical, why not allow them to help you in the spiritual? I mean, it's not really that complicated. I think that what we do as human beings, we believe that we're supposed to be locked inside of this room and think a certain way. But all that does is cut you off. All it does is cheat you out of an experience. Now, if there's something negative, best thing, you didn't want the negative in the physical, you don't want the negative in the spiritual. Okay, so these are decisions that we all have to make. Even myself as a telepath, it's not like just because I'm a telepath, I don't suffer experiences. I have to make certain decisions in my life. And I have to make the decision as to whether or not I choose to talk to this person or whether or not that person has the right to speak to me. Or whether or not I want to even deal with the negativity. That is up to me. Or whether or not I want to receive the positivity. Of course I want to receive the positivity. Why would I not want to receive positivity? That's all I really want to receive is positivity. But then, I think about things that I need. The closest thing that I can tell you is see if your wants and your needs match. If your wants and your needs match, then full speed ahead. If you're wanting something but you don't really need it, then you have to kind of reassess things. If you're needing something but you're pretending not to want it, then again, you've got to reassess things. And if you're needing a relationship with this particular person or entity, and it's a spiritual relationship that you need, then at least give it a shot. If it's not something that you need and you don't believe that you need it, let it go. It's just that simple. Okay? I hope that helps. What have we got now?
Next question is from Jason Spielman, and he says, due to unforeseen financial circumstances, we're no longer moving to Colorado. A lot of things said we're not moving, like getting last-minute financing for the house here. Why did the gods keep me in Maine?
I know your situation, Jason, is not that the gods are keeping you in Maine. Maybe Maine is just not finished with you. Or perhaps what it is that you want is just not prepared yet. Remember, everything is timing. It's all supply and demand. It's time to go and time to leave, or time to stay. It all comes down to that. I think that you have to just kind of be patient. I know that you were looking forward to moving to Colorado, but I told you even then perhaps it wasn't time. and perhaps it's just not time. You have to remember, if you're a person like I know that you are, that has some awareness of the spiritual, you have to understand that the spirit, you know that the spirit is going to use you to a degree. Even if you decide, no, I'm not going to do the spiritual thing anymore, and the spirit says, oh, we'll see about that. So you kind of have to think about, one, the sense of humor that the spirit does have. Two, they're a lot bigger than us. And true, we do have free will, but free will has nothing to do with choice. And we have to always remember that as well. So I'm just going to say, if you wait a minute, things will straighten up, okay? Just wait a minute. They will straighten up for you, and you will go there, but I don't think the door is open yet for you. Just wait. It will open, okay? So don't get mad at the gods just yet, okay? Because, remember, there's also the goddess, and she may need you here. But it's good to hear from you again. I hope that helps you.
Question is from Terry. It's another Halloween question.
Yes.
During Halloween, does the heightened interest in the holiday make paranormal events more likely to happen?
Of course it does. You know that. I mean, that's one of those self-explanatory questions. The more that you concentrate on something, the higher the energy goes. And that actually can cause a manifestation. Let's just hope that everybody is dealing with it in a positive nature. We don't need Mr. Stay Puft manifesting himself, because of everyone thinking about Mr. Stay Puft and using that particular type of an energy. So yes, it does indeed. Remember, where your thoughts go, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your action becomes. You have to always remember that. So all of you think wonderful thoughts and positive thoughts throughout this particular time. I'm just going to say that. But that's a great question. I love Halloween questions. Okay, before I have any more questions, I'm going to take just a second to let you all know we are also creating a film. That film is called Falkir, and this particular film is about women that have been taken from different time periods and different lifestyles in order to become the legendary Valkyrie. And we've been working on this film, and we need help with this film, and we need funding for this particular film. And if you can make a donation towards Falkir, we will be more than happy to find a way to acknowledge that in the film, that you have made a donation to our cause. You can visit us at Falkir.com. What is the address of the film?
FalkirTheMovie.com.
It is FalkirTheMovie.com. If you can check that out, you'll find out about the film. You may get to see some beautiful pictures and shots from the film. And hopefully you'll make a good donation so that we can complete our film and get new supplies and make sure that our equipment is working. It's something that's been in the works for quite some time, and we're doing well on it. And I'm sure that you will all enjoy this particular film when it comes out. I get to play the role of the powerful Thor. I just thought I'd mention that. But it's a good film, and I hope you all can help out with it.
Sorry, I stand corrected. The Falkir website is FalkirMovie.com, and that's FalCyYR movie.com. F like in Frank.
Okay. And now let's go ahead and answer a couple of more questions. I do have time for that. And what's our next question?
What is a totem animal? How do they benefit people? And what is a good way to use the connection to your totem animals to benefit you in a day-to-day life?
And who asked that?
Anonymous.
Okay, what a totem animal is an animal spirit that actually assists you on your journey through life. Now, that's a big blanket statement, but it is an animal that you share an affinity with on some level. Okay? I don't mean like your family cat, although you may share an affinity with your family cat, because I know a lot of crazy cat women, or crazy cat ladies, and they're usually men, which is really, really funny. I mean, let's say that your totem animal or your animal guide or animal spirit, if you will, is cardinal, okay? And you share an affinity with that cardinal. So when you see that cardinal, in the reality, it actually helps you in some way, shape, or form by telling you that your actual animal spirit is watching and trying to guide you on some level. Now, this is what we call a totem. And it's also a symbology of part of your nature and who you are. And if you follow the advice of that particular totem, you may get to a place that you really want to be. Let's just make it that way. And there are ways to call that particular entity towards you. And that doesn't mean go out and see if you can catch a cardinal or buy a cardinal. Or if your totem animal is the lion, which a lot of people really want their totem animal to be, don't go out and try to catch a lion unless it's a dandelion, because if you walk up on a lion, you're in for a surprise. There are different types of totems. And, I have to say this. Listen, they don't all have to be ferocious prey animals. It's okay to have a humorous type of a totem. For instance, one of my totems is a frog. I'm perfectly happy with that because the frog is humor, resilience, and healing. So that's fine. They help you in your day-to-day life. Perhaps you can call on the properties of that particular animal to get you through a tough spot. Okay? You can call on the strength of that animal to get you through something that you need to get through. There's a lot I can teach you about totems all night, and perhaps at some point in time I will make totem animals the topic of our conversation. But needless to say, they are very helpful in your life and lifestyle, and it would behoove you all to research about totemic things. I hope that helps.
We have another couple more questions here.
Okay, what have you got?
Another anonymous question. What happened to cause Atlantis to disappear?
That's a lot of questions to that. I think that the energy that Atlantis used was misused. And in other words, I would need another 2 hours to tell you the whole story of what I think.
Do you have an abridged version?
They misused the life force. They misused their life force, and they misused the life force of this earth. Wow, there's another portion of that. What do they call that thing that I believe is misusing the earth's life force? Oh, yeah, HARP. So it's almost like Atlantis could happen again. You think about this, they left a giant magnetic hole, and that could only come by the misuse of an energy. Remember, the earth is alive. The earth is not some rock. It is an actual living entity, and we have the great fortune of living on and through and because of this great entity. So to do things with its life force that is incorrect, is absolutely absurd. It provides everything for us. And what, we need to try to change the weather? And for those of you that don't believe that HARP is being used to change the weather, along with most of the chemtrailing that is going on, I got a big surprise for you. All of you people that didn't used to have allergies and now you have allergies, I would start asking some questions. Okay? And I think that's a misuse of the life force. So what happened to Atlantis is exactly what is happening now. Now, there's an abridged version, super abridged. And as you can see, it kind of gets me a little excited. I'm trying not to rant. Okay. All right, what have we got? What else have we got?
A lot of people get tattoos of spiritual symbols on their bodies. How does this affect the person that the tattoo is on, if it is a traditional symbol versus one that is made up? And this is from Stella.
It depends on what you mean by made up. Because if you're talking about something that is posed as traditional but is made up, then it doesn't have the power of the tradition. However, if there's someone who has a tattoo that is based upon their lore or their story or their experience and their culture, then it does have power, and it does have the tendency to change the person. For instance, my tattoo is on my face, but I'm part Maori, and I did that as a statement to let everyone know that I wasn't afraid to express that particular part of my life. Not only that, it helps me to tap into my culture. I grew up not knowing who my biological father was, and because of that, I missed out on a lot. But this is my way of playing catch up, and I'm doing so slowly but surely, and it means a lot to me. You'll hear people that go over and try to get tattoos of certain tribes, yet their thought is anything but tribal. Or the people that do things that were meant for certain honors in certain tribes, and they just wanted to get it out of vanity's sake. That it doesn't have the power of the tattoo. It may hold some significance for them, but remember the tattoo is something that's very, very sacred. But there are millions of tattoo artists out there that will tell you that it's a spiritual experience for them. And I know that most of them have scruples, and they're not going to do a tattoo for someone just because. Equally, there are those that do it just for the buck, so it can have the significance of the tradition or it could not, but it depends on what your tradition actually is. So if you need something to stand for and you want to put it in the form of a tattoo, think about it. Remember, that's something that you have the potential to wear for the rest of your life. And for those that say, I don't want to have this on my body when I'm 80 years old, shut up. Okay? Just shut up. And one way or another, when you hope you get to 80, and two, it's part of who you are. So don't, if you want a tattoo, get a tattoo. That's up to you. If you don't want a tattoo, fine. That is up to you as well. But the bottom line is, it depends on what it means to you and not to everybody else. But if you're going to get something that has a traditional meaning, make sure you know what flavor the Kool-Aid is before you do so. Okay.
And it looks like we have Michelle on the line.
Oh, look. Look at there. There's Michelle on the line. We had Kinsey, now we have Michelle. So I'm going to bring Michelle in. How are you?
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
What you doing?
What am I doing?
I'm on the radio. Am I on the radio?
Yes,
oh
you're on
God.
the radio. Goofy.
Listen, I'm going back to your totem. I forgot. What is mine?
Dorkfish.
No.
Yeah?
No.
Look, I told you before, if you ask me what your totem is, what am I going to tell you?
Nothing.
You have several totems. I'm going to tell you it's a dorkfish, but you have several totems.
Know.
But that's hello. That's something that I would much rather discuss with you in private.
Well, you just told everybody a dorkfish.
Well, that's the big totem, and they can probably hear that you're a dorkfish.
On a more serious note, do your totems change? Or
yes, they do.
Once
they fulfill their purpose, yes, they do indeed change.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes they stay with you for a lifetime. In your particular case, your totems have served you well. They have served you very, very well.
Yeah.
And they will continue to serve you. Okay, just remember that. I told you before, if you ask me what your totem is, and remember that's a sacred experience. I'm going to tell you it's a dorkfish.
Whatever.
But you know what your totems are. I've told you. What do you mean you forgot what your totem is?
I know. I got to go pull out my books and find it.
Yeah, once you go do that.
I'm going to.
Yeah, remember what I told you. You need to start researching things. Okay? I'll talk to you soon, though, okay? I hope that helps you out, sweetheart. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.
Talk to you later. Okay, bye.
That was Michelle. Okay, do we have any more questions? No more questions. Okay, now what I'm going to do...
Oh, wait. We do have a question from Amanda.
Oh, okay. Hi, Amanda.
She's pulling it up on the chat.
Okay, so I'm going to wait for a little bit. If I happen to go over a bit, it's okay. I'm doing this special show here, and I'd like to do a lot more shows like this. So remember what I said. If you guys want to see more, you want to hear more of this, then what you have to do is help us out. By making a donation, you can go to unicorn-cove.com, look for the donation button. PayPal is fine. Make your donation, and then I can continue doing things like this. Eventually, what I like to do is 3 shows a week. However, at this particular time, I have to do other work, so it doesn't enable me to do so, but I would love to. Remember, we work for ourselves. No one gives us money. We have to depend upon your donations for this show to happen.
Okay. Looks like we have Amanda's question, and she asks, can you talk about the pineal gland and why lately so many people are having problems with them? And she's thinking of specifically calcification of the pineal gland.
Interesting. That is a very long conversation. Let's see if I can do a kind of an abridged version of that. Listen, the pineal gland is in the center of your brain. It's what controls your evolutionary thought. In other words, it's what controls how well you perceive things or whether you're going to perceive things. And it is what causes us to change and mutate. Now, there are a lot of people that have had troubles lately with their pineal gland is because the signals of the earth have been changing. Now, whether the signals of the earth have been changing by force or by design or by just natural change has been left up to question because of all the things that have been done. I mentioned HAARP earlier. HAARP is a certain frequency, has a certain frequency which can affect a person on an individual basis. And it would behoove you all to do some more research on HAARP. That's H.A.A.R.P. And this is not the type of harp that angels play. So if I were you, I'd do some research. But there are other signals that have happened that are frequencies that cause irritation. And they can cause irritation in the pineal gland or thalamus and hypothalamus, which is in the middle of your brain. So if people are having trouble with that, it's because the very air has been changing lately. There's a lot of chemtrailing that is going on, and what I mean by chemtrailing is that if you look up in the sky at any moment in time, it could be a couple of very clear days, and someone decides that we've had enough of clear days, so let's get in a jet and spray chemicals in the air and then pretend that it's just vapor trails. But we all know the difference between a vapor trail and something that actually has chemicals in it. And for those of you that say, oh, that's hogwash, think about how you felt before it chemtrailed and after it chemtrailed. And for that matter, think about the beautiful clear days that there were before the chemtrails and then how quickly it decided to rain after the chemtrails. So you really have to take these things into consideration. And, I dare say that our very air is being changed around us. And, whoever is doing it is hoping we don't notice or pretending we don't notice. So they just like to call us crazy, because we notice something. Hey, you're stepping on my toe. Oh, you're crazy. You're just making it up, And what do they call that? Skeptic societies. Oh, yeah, I love those guys. I have to mention them all the time because I think they're absolutely stupid. But that's just me. I'm one of those people that's really not afraid of skeptics because I think that skeptics are merely people who don't want to acknowledge the fact that God is real because they're afraid that when he comes back, he's going to be pissed. So that's as far as I'll go on that. But I think that's why, Amanda. I think that our very air is being changed around us slowly, but it's being changed. And I think that also has to do with extraterrestrial beings, or what we call extraterrestrial, which are beings that were probably here long before us, and they just came back home and found us eating their porridge. So, I kind of think of it that way. It's worth researching, okay? Which brings another point. I suggest that you all do research. Everyone should do research. Okay, but if you're going to research, understand that research is only one part of it. Don't go read a book about France and never speak to French people. Speak to French people before you start saying that, hey, I learned this about France, because you could be getting totally erroneous information as well. So do your research and talk to people and see if you can seek out an actual experience. That's what causes you to be well read or be an authority on something. I'm all about the spiritual. Anyone that knows me can tell you that I am all about the spiritual, but I'm a very grounded individual and probably highly critical of most spiritual experiences until I can actually glean that they're telling the truth or that that particular experience is the truth. Remember that. Be open to things. Just don't be a sucker, okay? And at the same time, don't find reasons to negate something just because you didn't see it, okay? And that goes with a Halloween experience or aliens or anything else. That way you don't get caught off guard, So, do we have anything else?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
What do you got?
I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
The Norse religions use the rune stones, and many use their own blood to stain each rune. Is this use of blood a bad thing? And what else can we use to bless or activate the runes?
Well, I'm not going to call the Nords bad for using their blood because there is a definite meaning in that. That's part of the life force. You can't call someone's culture bad just because you don't understand it. It could be a good thing. Maybe that gave them more power. And I can agree with that. I can see how that would work, in certain instances. How I myself prefer to keep my blood in my body. But there are those that will use blood as their blood as a way of marking certain runes to make sure that these runes protect. So make sure that these runes protected them. I'm not going to say one way or another. To me, it's a little gruesome, but I get it. Okay, to them, it's the right way. So I'm not going to say one way or another on that. You can use all kinds of things to draw runes. You can use ink. You can use a tattoo. You can use certain fruit juices. I happen to know that olive oil or olive juice, the juice from actual olives off of the tree, makes for a very powerful ink to do spells. It works wonderfully, so it just depends on what it is that you yourself want to use. If you feel that using your blood to make runes is going to help you, just remember there is a form of blood magic that is used that is not good at all. Okay, and that's when you take the left-hand path or the dark-hand path. However, if you're doing it not to hurt anyone, I don't know what to tell you. As far as that goes, it depends upon your culture. But we have to go back to when I was speaking about tattoos earlier, understanding the tradition, as opposed to just doing it because, you got your clothes from Hot Topic and think that you're a vampire. You have to have legitimate reasons for doing stuff. So I can't tell you whether or not it's bad. I can only tell you that it's very powerful. It would be powerful for you. It may not be powerful for the next person. And it is definitely not hygienic. So think about what you're doing and think about the culture before you get into certain things like that. Okay, I hope that helps you. Is there anything else at all?
Yep. Jason Spielman asks, are there any good ideas for Samhain? Like rituals, meditation.
You mean Samhain?
I have no idea. Did I butcher that?
Yeah, you did.
This is
That's okay. Yeah, I know how it's spelled.
This spelling right here. I'm sorry. I don't know. Any good rituals, meditations, readings that would be good for this?
Well, I gave you the totemic. You could use that one. But you can use a number of spells. It depends on what it is you want to do. If you're thinking of protective spells, Jason, I happen to know that you know some protective spells. Use those spells and use them wisely. Just remember, don't think that the gods are mad at you, because they're not. And neither is the goddess for that matter. It's just that perhaps you're being led along by destiny to do the things that you are supposed to do. Pick a spell. Think about what it is you want, but you have to look at certain things first. You have to look at the waning, the phase of the moon. Is it waxing? Is it waning? Is your spell supposed to be done during waxing as opposed to waning? Is it supposed to be done in waning as opposed to waxing? What are the hours of power? You have to think about those things. You know, is it 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, or is it 3, 6, 9, and 12? You have to think about those things. So learn about spell work before you do spell work, and then make sure that you have simple tools to do it with. If you have ritualistic tools and you can go through the rituals and have the ceremony along with the ritual, that's like the actual wine in the cup, and you really have the substance of it, then your spell will work. If your spell does not work, don't get mad. You know, if it doesn't work the first time, you may need practice, or maybe you forgot something. Or maybe you just didn't have enough intensity, or maybe you had too much intensity. You have to answer all of these questions. You know, but I've seen people do spells and try to do spells and say, well, you know, I tried this, but it didn't work. No, the spell works. It's just you're not ready for that particular type of a spell, perhaps. Or maybe you just need more practice. Remember, it's called the craft. And the craft is something that you develop. It's not something that happens. You know, think before you say whether something works or not. Okay, so pick a spell, any spell. You know, just remember the rule. Don't hurt anybody. It will come back to you. And it will come back to you badly. Okay? And for all of you people that think that you are invincible, and those people that think, oh, it won't come back to me badly because I'm a blah, 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 I got news for you. It will come back. Just, there's an old saying on the streets, don't start no mess, there won't be none. And that's what I'm going to suggest to you all. Okay, it is about that time. Time for us to sign off for the evening. I've had a wonderful time with you all. Just remember this. I would love to continue doing this show. But in order for me to continue doing the show, we need funding. And I hope that you all can be generous to help fund us. Just go to unicorn-cove.com, hit the donation button, make a generous donation. I will acknowledge each and every one of your donations. I love doing this, and I love hearing from all of you. I'm happy to answer your questions. Just consider this. You can either go pay someone $45 to answer your question, or up to $60 to answer your question, or you can tune in to Ask the Unicorn and get your questions answered virtually free. Okay? All you have to do is listen. And remember, I'm always listening. I'm Ahura Z for Ask the Unicorn. I hope you all have enjoyed the show tonight. I want to say good night to you all. And when I say good night to you all, I am hoping that you all do actually have a good night. Oh, well, before I actually do that, it looks like we have a caller. Someone who just got to call. Is that correct, Kazi?
It seems like it.
Okay. There is a caller on the air, and I'm actually, Sonora, it's okay. I can go ahead and answer the question. Okay, you're on the air live with Ahura Z.
Hey, Z, this is Tina. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, trying to hold together.
Oh, you're doing a good job.
Oh, yeah, well, we're trying with these little boys here.
Yeah.
I'll see. You know, Michelle, I just now noticed that she said you were going to be on the air. And
yes.
Can I ask you a question? How's Michael? Is he,
Michael is
fine. Is
fine.
he happy? He's happy?
Michael is happy. As happy as he can be. It's, remember, when we ask questions such as, someone that's moved on, are they happy or not? Remember, happy and sad are human emotions. They're part of a body.
Uh-huh.
He's okay. He's good. He's better in the place that he's in.
Okay.
And I think he'll be hanging around you guys for a little bit, okay?
That's good. That's good. Yeah,
he's trying to make sure.
All the time.
This goes to what I was saying to everyone earlier. He's making sure that you're all okay. Well, what you can't do is you can't be sad for him.
Yeah, I know.
I know that things hurt, but I know it's hard. But try to hold him in joyful thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And like I said, he'll be hanging around a bit just to make sure you guys are okay. But he's fine.
Oh, okay. We miss him. He knows that.
Of course he knows that. He hears it all the time.
Yeah.
Listen, I told you, he's lost his body, not his spirit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I wish that we that still have our bodies can hear from you a little more.
Yes.
You know, you might pick up the phone and call once in a while.
I will. We will.
Yeah, and you know, you still good. You still owe me tamales.
Hey, I will.
Okay.
We get Christopher up there, Christmas or something.
Okay.
Okay.
That
Have a
sounds
good day,
good.
V.
Hey, you too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, then. I didn't need to wait. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for her to call. I'm going to end the night. This is Ahura Z. You're on the air live with Ask the Unicorn. I hope you all have enjoyed the show. I certainly have. I'll see you all next week. Same unicorn time, same unicorn channel. Good night, all.
You've been listening to Ask the Unicorn, live with Ahura Z. DeLisa. If you have a personal matter you need help with, Ahura offers private telepathic readings and telepathic spiritual counseling by phone and Skype. Ahura also teaches private classes in an array of subjects online using Skype video. You can learn more by visiting our website at www.asktheunicorn.com, where you can also hear archived episodes of our show and subscribe to our blog. If you have a question for Ahura to answer on a future episode of Ask the Unicorn, you can contact us via our website or email it to questions@asktheunicorn.com, and we'll add it to the list for our next show. Ask the Unicorn broadcasts live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time on Blog Talk Radio. That's blogtalkradio.com/Ask the Unicorn.
Do you do when you don't know? Just go and ask for do-de-o-do. Ahura Z will journey with you. All the places on
Ready to see you die.
What do you do when you don't know? Just go and ask for do-de-o-do. Ahura Z will journey with you. All the places others won't go.